So now let's take a look at the different campaign objectives that we can choose in Meta. So before we talk about objectives, let's talk about the marketing funnel. I have mentioned this specific term multiple times in this course already, but basically the marketing funnel consists of 3 different stages. And usually when you visualize it, or if you Google it, you'll find literally a funnel which looks like this. The top stage is awareness, the middle stage, which is smaller, is consideration, and the last stage, which is really small, is conversion. So it goes like this. So in awareness phase, basically, we're trying to reach people that do not yet know about our business. Maybe they have a problem, or maybe they have a desire, or maybe they just don't have anything of that. Maybe they're just unaware of anything. And you are just trying to popularize your brand, your product, your service, and just show them, okay, we are here. I am a specific brand, I have a specific product, I can help you with this, this, and that, or this product solves. So basically, we raise awareness. And this is a good campaign objective for branding. And most of the big companies like Coca-Cola, Nike, Visa, for example, they use awareness objectives because people already kind of know who they are. And they just want to stay on top of minds of people. So when they think about, for example, credit cards, they'll think about Visa. When they will think about drinks, they will associate it with Coca-Cola. So that's a specific metric that just a specific marketing tactic that we call branding. And it's actually not going to be focused on this lesson, because in this lesson, we're going to talk mostly about performance marketing. And when we talk about performance marketing, the most important 2 stages are consideration and conversion. So in consideration phase, we're trying to target the people that already know about maybe us, or maybe they are aware of a specific problem or desire, or maybe they're already kind of looking for a solution to something. So then we are trying to capture these people. And usually they're trying to seek more information about specific product, service, to help them solve something. And finally, that's conversion. So in conversion campaigns, we are trying to target people that are in this very narrow bottom part of the funnel, who are ready to buy. They know they have a problem, they want to solve it, and maybe they have a specific desire and they are ready to fulfill this desire. So basically here, we're just trying to sell our product or service. And this is where we make the most money. And also when we talk about retargeting usually is going to be in this bottom of the funnel in a conversion stage. So once we know and we have acquainted ourselves with this marketing funnel, the next step is to understand, okay, in which of these 3 steps is currently my business goal or my marketing goal? Do I want to raise awareness? Do I want to get more consideration for my ads or my business or my service? Or do I want to get more sales? So for each of these 3 stages of marketing funnel, we also have a specific goal that we can choose in our Meta Ads Manager. So as you can see, there's 6 different marketing campaign objectives, and each 2 of them fall under one of these marketing funnel steps. So awareness and traffic, engagement and leads, promotion and sales. And now we're gonna take a look at each of them individually so you will understand where it falls and when to use it. So for Meta Ads, I would urge you to consider these 3 main goals as your primary goals, and that's awareness, lead generation, and conversion. So basically these 3 goals are probably the most important ones, because the rest, at least for me personally, that it doesn't really make much sense to use them. You might think, okay, I just need to have more traffic in my website, right? But it doesn't really work like that, because yes, you will get more traffic if you ask Meta to get more traffic, but it doesn't necessarily mean that all of those people who will visit your website will convert. So a better goal in this case, if you want more sales, is to use conversions goal with sales objective. Because if you want something from Meta, you have to ask exactly what you need or exactly what you want. And for small businesses, medium-sized businesses, or just performance marketing in general, leads and conversions are the main goals that you should be focusing on. But if by any chance you are maybe from a bigger organization and you have extra marketing budget, or you want to stay on top of people's heads for a specific niche or idea or product or service, then you can also choose awareness goals. And awareness is good for reach, brand awareness, and video views. So basically, it increases the awareness and it shows your brand to as many people as possible with the lowest cost. So it's great to reach a lot of people. It's great to spread your message, but it's not great to actually make your audience convert, because for this objective, it's just gonna, the Meta algorithm will just show your ad to as many people as possible, but they will not convert. So if you're, for example, an NGO, or maybe you're a government, or maybe you are a big brand like Coca-Cola, it could be useful to use this objective because it's the for which you can reach the most audience, but they will not convert. As an example, you can take a look at Visa. So for example, it's also one of the biggest players in a credit card market, and they basically have almost no competition. So it's either Visa, MasterCard, or American Express. I guess that's an option. But in this case, they don't really need to compete for conversions. They know they will not get new clients via online channels. There will not be people that are going to buy their cards online. What they want to know is for their brand to stay on top of your mind as a consumer. And once somebody launches a credit card and you'll have a choice, MasterCard or Visa, you will then remember, okay, I have seen Visa and heard about Visa more. It's probably the more popular option, and then you choose Visa, right? And it's also good for building brand authority and trust. So the more people just are aware of your brand, the more the information could potentially spread, and the more aware people then you can have. And we just talked about the marketing funnel, and it's the top side of the funnel. You also can use this audience that you have gained, that has seen your ad, and then later on retarget them with other ads that are conversion based, for example. That is what we call a full funnel approach. And you don't necessarily need to build a full funnel approach, but if you are a larger company and you don't mind building a little bit more sophisticated campaigns, it's definitely a very good option for you, but it's definitely not a necessity. So that's not something that you need to do, but that's something that you can do. And if you have enough resources, it's a good thing to do, let's say. Next, we'll have the consideration objectives. And in this case, we have traffic, engagement, and leads. So all three of these are goals that you could consider for your business. But remember when I said that Meta is going to give you what you ask for it. So if your goal is sales, don't go for traffic or for engagement. I know that a lot of businesses usually fall into the pitfall of starting engagement campaigns because they see, okay, I'm getting so many likes and shares and comments under my campaigns, so it must be good for my business. But usually it's just burning your money because they don't actually convert. They don't really end up as a paying customers. And if you're familiar with boost post function, once you're in Instagram or on Facebook, you can click on the boost post, right? And it's gonna show your ad to more people. And the default setting for boost post is engagement. So if you don't use Facebook Ads Manager, and if you just click on the boost post, you will get the engagement campaign objective, and you're gonna ask Facebook to get more people to engage with your post. Like, share, comment your post, and that's it. So it's good if, for example, you have a specific post that you really need more shares and likes for some reason. It's not good for conversions. And finally, leads. So leads are basically potential clients that you can get from Facebook. And in this case, what is considered the lead, you might ask? So basically, lead is a person who has shown interest in your product, service, or business. But how do you know that they are showing interest, and how do you gather leads? So basically, for this, we use something that's called a lead magnet, and we usually offer something to your target audience in exchange for their email, name, and maybe a number. And most common sources of this is, for example, an ebook or free webinar registration, or maybe free trial. So here, in case a person, for example, wants to get your ebook on the specific topic that you might be writing it for, you can give it for free to this person if they're gonna fill this form, or if they're gonna register, for example, on your webinar for free, and then you collect this information. And why it's called a lead is because you probably will have created your webinar or ebook about your specific niche, your specific business, and you then show them in the ebook or in the webinar a solution to their problem, or maybe fulfillment of their desires. And that is your chance to convert them, either in an ebook or maybe in a webinar, or maybe once they have gotten your lead magnet, you can just call them and ask them, okay, I see that you have been curious about this webinar or ebook. I found this information valuable. How about we schedule a meeting, for example? How about you can use it as basically basis to start a conversation with them, and then try to convert them either on a meeting or webinar, or just sell them product or try it on the phone, depending on your specific tactic of your business. And these are some examples of lead generation ads. As you can see on the right, this is the visual representation on how a lead generation ad would look on Facebook. So here you can see the ad itself. Once they click on subscribe, a window opens up. And in this case, Facebook automatically inputs the person's name and their email, because this is the name and email they have registered in Meta. And once they click submit, Meta receives this information, and then you can download it from your business suite. With lead generation, you also have an option to push this traffic to your website, or to use Meta's native lead generation form. And this is the difference between lead quantity and quality. Because if you push people to your website, you have more, let's say, virtual space to convince them to leave their email, phone, and name. And it's also a little bit more difficult for them to do it, right? Because they'll have to type it manually. Whilst Facebook forms is just a couple of clicks and they become a lead. So what are the pros and cons of both? Well, for the landing page, as I already mentioned, you have just more space to work with. You can add different visuals, different bullet points, different case studies, testimonials, videos to showcase your product or service. If maybe it's a course, maybe it's a subscription, maybe it's a registration for an event, but you have just more space to work with. It's also more difficult to fill it because you have to do it manually. And sometimes you want to make it more difficult, because if you make it more difficult, that means that there's higher intent that people will actually do it. So if they really want to try it, they will put the effort to it, and thus make it more likely that they actually read the book or maybe visit the event, and finally maybe they're gonna register or buy your service or product. On the other hand, you have Facebook forms. In this case, it's just very easy for them to fill it, and you will get more leads and cheaper leads, but not as high quality leads. So in this case, it's important for you to understand if you want quantity or quality. Do you want more but with less quality, or do you want less but with higher quality? And it really depends on your strategy. There's many companies that use these cheap leads to get them into their mailing lists and then just keep pushing a lot of information to these people, a lot of valuable info materials, emails that give value to these people, and so they can keep building relationship over the time. And once every emails, they will fill it in They will fill gaps with, for example, promotional email where they're gonna try to sell their product and service via email. But if you are looking for higher quality leads that you are maybe gonna call or send it to your sales team, I suggest you go for a little bit more difficult option, so quality over quantity, because you don't want to be calling hundreds of low quality leads that are completely disinterested, because some of them will just accidentally click on the ads and accidentally register. Some of them will be fake numbers, so not ideal if you have to call a lot of numbers manually or your sales team has to do it. And then finally, we have conversion campaigns. So these are probably the bread and butter of every small and medium-sized business, because these campaign goals directly translate into sales. In app promotion, for example, we can use this goal to directly push people to our app if we have it, and we can get more app downloads. And if the business model, I'm not gonna get deeper into apps and how to use them, but you can use this campaign objective to actually get more app downloads for your specific business, if your business has an app. But since vast majority of people who will see this course probably will not have an app, I will not focus on it in this course. Next, we have sales. So sales is probably my most favorite campaign objective, because here I can see perfectly how much money did I put into ads, how much money did I get in return from my investment. So I know what's the return of investment immediately. So these are the campaigns that show you immediately how many people converted, how much did I pay for each purchase, how much money did I get into return. But to use this objective, you will have to have something installed, and that's Facebook Pixel and Conversion API, very important tools for tracking. So now let's take a look at some of the conversion campaign examples. So here on the right, you can see a simple carousel ad. So this is just a visual representative of how it can look like. And it's definitely not the best example, because these are just generic products. I mean, colorful umbrella and headphones. It's generally not the kind of products I suggest you to advertise on Meta, but it's more of a showcase that you can, for example, if you have a Shopify store, or if you have a WooCommerce store, or any other store that you can have multiple products in, you can actually export the shop feed from the store and import it into Facebook. And you can create dynamic ads based on different criteria. And you can, for example, choose, if you are a shoe outlet, to only pull the data from the store about women's shoes and only show them to women, for example. And it's very powerful, because algorithm then sees and can fiddle with these different products, with these different audiences, to see which audience actually buys which product, and then adjust these cards accordingly. Because you don't need to create these visual elements yourself. It can just directly pull them from the store automatically. And it's also great for retargeting. If you own or work for a big e-commerce store, you can retarget all the visitors of your website dynamically, and you can retarget specific people who visited specific products, and then only show them similar products or the same product and urge them to finish the conversion. Or if you are a simpler e-commerce store, or maybe if you have just one or couple of products, you can create a specific campaign for each specific product separately. Or maybe you have just one hero product, so one main product you want to sell, then you would just showcase this product in one image or one video that's meant for conversions, meant for sale. So you would showcase their benefits, you would have a great offer, and you would try to capture their attention and interests and all the different other things that we're going to talk about in this module. And that's the gist of it for conversion campaigns.